In Owensboro, Kentucky, the morning starts slow. The kind of town where people wave at stop signs and dirt roads hold more stories than the evening news. But inside the Hayden home, the pace was anything but quiet. It was engines, elbows, and echoing laughter in the garage. This was not a household of spectators. This was a family of racers. Earl and Rose Hayden didn't just raise kids, they raised competitors, 5 of them. And in that tight pack of siblings, Nicky was the third. Not the loudest or the tallest, but from the beginning he had that look, the kind of focused calm that racers are born with, not taught. You could see it in the way he cornered a bicycle at 5 years old, or the way he lined up his toy bikes on the floor, calculating imaginary lap times with complete seriousness. The Haydens didn't just support racing, they lived it. It was Sunday service and Saturday races. It was chain lube and church clothes, and somehow they balanced it. If racing was the heartbeat, then family was the rhythm. Nicky didn't come up through country clubs or air-conditioned trailers. He came up through muddy boots, late-night engine rebuilds, and torn-up leathers. His first lessons in grit weren't at a racetrack, they were in that backyard garage. Learning how to wipe down parts before you knew how to read. Everyone knew he was talented. That part was clear early. But what made him different wasn't the speed, it was the control. He didn't force the bike around the track. He listened to it, like it was talking to him. While other kids were still guessing how hard to twist the throttle, Nicky already understood when to hold back and when to let go. And there was that smile, not the kind you practice for podium photos, the kind that just showed up naturally after a race, during a wrench session, or any time he was around two wheels. He wasn't brash and he didn't need to tell you how fast he was, he just let the lap times do the talking. If you were there, you'd remember the old flat track days, the smell of the dirt, the tension at the line, the way Nicky could find grip where no one else could. He made sliding sideways look effortless, almost surgical, but there was nothing easy about it. It was hours of practice. It was listening to advice. It was watching his older brother, dreaming of one day beating him. That's the thing people miss when they see only the trophies. They don't see the work behind it. The nights spent rewatching footage, the conversations with Dad about body position and braking points, or the quiet discipline it takes to show up every day and be better than you were the day before. Nicky did that from the very beginning, and he never complained. If he lost, he learned. The Hayden way. This board, it's not just wood and glue. It's a reminder of all those years when racing wasn't about brands or bonuses. It was about backyard tracks and borrowed gear. About a young kid in Kentucky who fell in love with two wheels and never looked back. This chapter of the board, the foundation, is about that. It's about family, about roots, about where it all began. Because if you want to understand the man Nicky Hayden became, you have to start here, in Owensboro, where the throttle is always twisted just a little harder and loyalty rides shotgun. This is for the garage, for the gravel, for the grit, the kind that's built long before a checkered flag ever waves. days, American road racing was at a crossroads. The field was filled with talent, the crowds were loyal, but the world was watching Europe. MotoGP, World Superbike, those were the peaks. But here at home, something was building. And in the middle of that momentum was a teenager from Owensboro, Kentucky, Nicky Hayden. He was still just a kid when Honda noticed, but not just any kid. One who had grown up under the roof of Earl Hayden, a racer who taught his sons that nothing came easy, but everything was earned. Nicky didn't come to Honda with a resume full of international accolades. What he brought was even better. Raw talent, blue-collar work ethic, and an attitude soaked in gratitude. He was fast. More than that, he was smart and he was humble. Honda offered him a place on the prestigious factory AMA Superbike team in 1999. For a teenager, this was unheard of. But Honda saw what others were starting to whisper. This kid could be the future. At first, he was quiet in the paddock, soft-spoken, always respectful. But on the track, he spoke in lap times. He studied his rivals, veterans like Matem Ladin and Miguel Duhamel, absorbing everything. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to learn how to win the right way. The RC51, Honda's V-twin superbike, was a beast, and Nicky tamed it like it was an extension of himself. Every weekend, you could see his confidence building. He'd run tight lines at Mid-Ohio, power past veterans at Road Atlanta, and then flash that signature smile in the post-race interviews like he couldn't believe he got to do this for a living. He didn't race for the cameras. He raced for his crew, for his family, for the people who had helped him get there. He often said his favorite part of the race weekend wasn't the podium. It was shaking the hands of his mechanics. That was Nicky, never above anyone, no matter how far he climbed. By 2002, he had done what few thought possible. At just 21 years old, Nicky Hayden became the AMA Superbike champion, the youngest ever. just the title that stunned people, it was how he earned it. With consistency, with precision, and with respect. He didn't take cheap shots on the track. He didn't stir drama. He just rode. And he rode better than anyone else. In the garage, he'd debrief with engineers with the insight of a veteran. He could describe feedback from the front tire like he was reading a novel. His feel for a motorcycle was otherworldly, but his discipline made it stick. Honda had made a bet, and they had won. They got a rider who was a sponsor's dream and a fan's favorite. America had its next big thing, and Honda had found a torchbearer worthy of carrying its legacy forward. This part of the board, the sharp edges, the clean symmetry, the way every join lines up just right. This is what it reflects. A period in Nicky's life where skill met opportunity and everything started to align. Who reminded us all what hard work and humility can become when given a chance. But behind every polished result was a young man who stayed late in the garage, who shook hands with every fan, who always remembered where he came from. That's what made Nicky Hayden special. This chapter, like those years on the RC51, is about more than just winning. It's about rising the right way. This is for the American champion, for the team player, for the young man in red and white who reminded us all what hard work and humility can become when given a chance. superbike to MotoGP isn't just a promotion, it's a transformation. It's like going from the state finals to the Olympics. In 2003, when Nicky Hayden was offered a seat on the Repsol Honda MotoGP team, he was stepping into a world ruled by legends. Rossi, Biaggi, Capirossi. Men with years of experience, layers of politics, and fan bases that stretched across continents. Nicky stepped in with his usual quiet confidence. No ego, no bravado. Just that relentless Hayden work ethic and a willingness to learn. He wasn't there to pretend he belonged, he was there to earn it. The Honda RC211V was a beast of a machine, torquey, unpredictable, and brutally fast. But Nicky approached it like he did everything else, one step at a time. He didn't crash out trying to prove a point. He adapted. He watched his telemetry. He studied Valentino's lines. He talked with the engineers, asked smart questions, and earned his stripes one session at a time. That first year he shocked people. He landed podiums, finished 5th in the world, a rookie on the world's biggest team delivering like a veteran. His teammates and competitors alike started calling him the Kentucky Kid, with both affection and respect. But there was one milestone Nicky and his fans were still waiting on, a MotoGP win. That all changed in 2005 at Laguna Seca. The energy was electric. An American racing on American soil, wearing the Repsol colors in front of a sea of US fans waving flags and holding signs. From the moment the lights went out, Nicky dominated. He led every lap with control, grit, and a quiet intensity that silenced every doubt. As he crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted. Nicky didn't just win, he owned it, and the emotion on his face said it all. This was more than a trophy. This was validation for the kid from Owensboro, for the family that raised him, for every fan that had believed all along. That victory at Laguna wasn't just a win, it was a spark. It proved Nicky could beat the best on the biggest stage, and it launched him into 2006 with something he had never raced with before, the undeniable belief that he could be world champion. By mid-season in 2006, Nicky was leading the points. Not with flashy wins, but with consistent, calculated finishes. While others gambled and crashed, Nicky finished, every time. Then came Portugal, a teammate's mistake, a collision. Nicky thrown into the gravel, his title hopes shattered in a blink. In the pits afterward, the cameras caught something raw. Tears, rage, and then resolve. He looked into the lens and said, "We're not done." He meant it. Valencia, the final round. Nicky had to beat Rossi, a living legend on his home turf. Against the odds, Nicky rode the race of his life. Not flashy, but flawless. When the checkered flag flew, the impossible had happened. Nicky Hayden was the MotoGP World Champion. The paddock erupted. Teams from across the grid came to congratulate him. Not because he'd won, but because of how he'd won. With grace, with grit, with humility. This wasn't just a victory, it was a statement that a good person could win at the highest level. That character still mattered, that you could ride with honor and still finish first. This chapter of the board, the intense shaping, the pressure of fine-tuning, is a mirror to that season. Every cut has weight, every decision leaves a mark, but when it comes together, you create something worthy of the highest podium. This is for the comeback, for the doubted, for the champion who proved you don't need to be the loudest to be the greatest. To know Nicky Hayden was to know that greatness doesn't always shout. Sometimes it shakes your hand. Sometimes it sends a thank you note. Sometimes it smiles when no one's watching. He was a man who always took the high road, even when the low road would have been easier. On track, he was fierce. Off it, he was gentle. The kind of guy who signed every autograph like it was his first, who answered every fan question with patience and a genuine smile. didn't wear his world title like a crown. He wore it like a team patch, like something shared with his mechanics, his family, his town. He said we more than I. That's rare in sport. That's even rarer in MotoGP. He mentored young riders, took pride in staying humble, respected the legends, praised the rookies, thanked the track marshals, and greeted every camera operator by name. Even after winning the world title, he came home to Owensboro and helped clean up the local motocross track. When other stars were chasing brand deals, Nicky was helping kids line up for practice motos. No cameras, no press, just heart. This is the part of the board where edges are rounded, corners softened, where the sharp tools are replaced with sanding blocks. It's about the finish, the personality, the warmth. You hear stories about Nicky visiting sick kids in hospitals or calling a local mechanic just to say thank you, about how he remembered the names of journalist kids, about how he always said sir and ma'am, no matter where he was in the world. People say don't meet your heroes, but if your hero was Nicky Hayden, that wasn't a warning, it was a gift. This chapter is for the man behind the visor, for the one who made sportsmanship cool again, for the racer who proved that the real finish line is how people remember you. Legacy is a funny thing. You don't always see it when it's happening. It builds quietly, lap by lap, handshake by handshake, until one day it's a legend. Nicky Hayden's story didn't end with a championship. It didn't end with his last MotoGP race, or when he switched to World Superbike, still hungry, still driven. His story carried on in every young racer who put on a helmet in Owensboro, in every fan who stayed after the race hoping to catch a smile or a quick word. When we lost Nicky, the world felt it, not just the racing world, the real world, because we hadn't just lost a champion. We'd lost a good man, a man who carried his success like a shared trophy, who lifted others with him, who left rooms warmer Then he found them. But here's the truth. The ride never ends, not really. Because legacy doesn't live in headlines. It lives in hearts, in the way people treat others after they've been treated kindly. In the way kids race now with his number, in the way his family, still so close, so bonded, keeps his name alive with dignity and love. This board, the final polish, the oil soaking in, the shine catching the light. This is about permanence, about memory, about something built to last, just like Nicky. There's a quote carved in the grain now, one that stays with me. Ride hard, stay humble. It's not just a motto, it's a map, one we could all follow a little closer. This is for the legacy, for the number 69, for the rider we'll never forget, and the person we'll always try to be a little more like. The ride doesn't stop here. It never has. Not for Nicky, and not for those of us lucky enough to keep telling his story.